You've probably heard it said before, he's just got the X factor, sometimes called the it factor. What does that mean? What does it mean to have the X factor? Well, today we're going to unpack that on this week's edition of the Weekly Mile. You're listening to Take a Step, the podcast that helps young men reject complacency and take action on their personal and professional growth. My name's Josh Johnston. Let's take a step. Before we jump in, I gotta give a quick shout out to Woodcraft South, the official Take a Step sponsor. In a world filled with cheap and fast, nothing compares to the authenticity of handcrafted custom woodwork. Whether it's a personalized logo engraved gift for one of your top clients, a special piece for a significant other, or a custom decor piece to elevate your workspace, Woodcraft South delivers craftsmanship that leaves a lasting impression. Turner Lee, the owner of Woodcraft South, who I have so much respect for, fully embodies the take a step mentality. He spent 7 years at a desk, wishing he could be more creative and purpose-driven with his work. With no perfect plan in place, he took a step to begin doing what he loved, which meant working nights and using what he had, and eventually turned a part-time passion into a full-time business that grows every year by crafting some of the most unique custom pieces you'll find. For example, if you watch any of the Take a Step video podcasts, you'll see this Take a Step custom decor piece behind me made by Turner, which just makes the space look so much more clean and professional. If you're wanting to leave your own lasting impression, then reach out to Turner at Woodcraft South and let him know you heard about him from Take a Step. The links to connect with him on social will be in the podcast description. Let's get right into this episode. When was the last time you accomplished a major goal without any resistance? Think about it. How often does someone rise to the top of their craft on a straight and easy path? The answer? Almost never. Consider some of the most iconic names in our world. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, Phil Knight, Tiger Woods, Donald Trump, or Barack Obama. I'll let you take your pick there. Their journeys to the top weren't marked by smooth sailing, but by setbacks, failures, and relentless effort. As a matter of fact, they lose more than they win. As I say that, I try to think of anything in my life that I've accomplished without first facing the setbacks and the failure. And to be honest, I can't think of anything. Everything in my life that I've ever accomplished that had any level of significance always came with failing and experiencing the setbacks before I succeeded. The world today is so focused on instant gratification that we lose sight of the single greatest attribute that has created some of the greatest success stories of our existence: grit. Grit is forged in the fire of resilience. It's built through setbacks, adversity, and the understanding that delayed gratification often holds the most meaningful rewards. The question is, how do you view failure? Take a moment and reflect on that. From a young age, many of us were taught to avoid failure at all costs. Pass or fail, failing is bad, passing is good. That's it. In my opinion, and this is only my opinion, is that this is ingrained in us through our education system, because we're taught that if we pass, we did a great job and we move on to the next level. And if we fail, there's something wrong with us, or you didn't do the right thing and you did something wrong. Well, most people who pass, and you probably know this as well as I do, it's going to be an assignment, a test, a project, an experiment, some sort of assignment that we really don't care about it in the grand scheme of things, but we know we have to pass, so we'll push it off because we don't care. And then the night before, we'll cram it in just to kind of have the recall the day of the assignment, pass the assignment, and then forget all of the information a week, a month, a year later, to where it wasn't even meaningful in the first place. So this is not only painting a bad picture on what it means to pass or excel at something, but more importantly, it's painting a bad picture on what it means to fail at something. The ones that will take step forward in life are the ones that will see their failure as an opportunity to learn from what they did wrong, pivot, and be better for it the next time. And that doesn't mean they're going to pass the next time. And that's where grit comes into play, because grit is that attribute that allows you to continue to dig deeper and deeper the more failure you experience, and know that you're just sharpening the saw so that you can be better later on in life. And on the topic of our education system, I was reading a story the other day, or I was listening to an influential entrepreneur that's wildly successful at his craft. And he was talking about how so many of the world's most successful entrepreneurs were actually horrible students. He was talking about why that's the case. And it's because they saw a much bigger picture than just getting the immediate assignments accomplished. They looked at the greater why. And for their why, it usually didn't entail, the science experiment they had to do, or the very specific math or algebra equation that they were asked to complete, because it didn't equate to their why or what they actually wanted to do. So they didn't see the point in it. They were too big of thinkers to narrow their focus down on what their teacher was telling them to do. So they lost care. This mindset is dangerous because it encourages us only to pursue what feels safe. It limits our potential. It prevents us from pushing boundaries and discovering what we're truly capable of. Failure, when viewed through the right lens, is not an end, it's a teacher. It's a signal that something didn't work, and with the right mindset and a little grit, we can adjust, grow, and keep moving forward. This process, repeated over and over, is why you probably recognize many of the names I listed before. Real quick, guys, you may have heard me talk about the work I do with the 1% Club. If you're a driven professional, an entrepreneur, or a business leader, and you've built a good career for yourself, but to be honest, you're just at a point where you're sick and tired of good and you're ready to make it great by aligning your personal and professional life, I highly encourage you to check out the 1% Club. It's a life and business coaching practice that works with you to build the life you want by aligning both your personal goals and your business goals. If you're ready to take action and make the change so that you can see the growth that you want, there'll be a link to book a call in the show notes below so that we can connect and see if you'd be a good fit. There's a very simple mindset that I talk about all the time, and each one of those guys that I talked about before embody this mindset. And it's the idea of changing the view of a problem into the view of a project. A problem insinuates that there's some sort of external force that is weighing you down and it's holding you back. But a project insinuates that there is still work to be done in order to grow and achieve a better result. Those influential people are not known because they avoided failure, but because they embraced it. They leaned into challenges, learned from their missteps, and kept pressing on. That's grit in action. So let me ask you, what have you been avoiding because it seems too challenging? What's the worst case scenario if you just give it a try? What's the best case scenario? And most importantly, what's the first step you can take today to get the wheels in motion? Don't let fear of failure paralyze you. Let it propel you. Take that step, even if it's small, because each step forward, no matter how difficult, is closer to becoming the person you were created to be. The journey won't be easy, and it won't be linear. But when you cultivate grit and commit to growing through the process, you'll find that the rewards on the other side are worth every ounce of the effort. Here's to choosing grit over comfort and action over fear. Take your step this week. The road may be long, but the miles you cover will be worth it. Always remember that inspiration is pointless without application. If you hear or read these words and take no action, I'm sorry, but you've wasted your time. The world is filled with people who are okay with just experiencing the feelings of motivation, but the people who choose to apply what they learn are the ones that will take steps forward in life. So, no matter where you are in your growth journey, just know that every mile begins with a step. Thank you guys for listening to another episode of the Take a Step podcast. Guys, if you enjoy this episode, then there's a few things I'd love to ask of you. Number one, share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. If you know someone who's just kind of spinning the tires, who's stuck in life and is choosing a complacent lifestyle, then share this episode with them. Number two, please leave a rating and review on whichever platform you're listening on. It really helps us to continue to grow this community so that we can continue impacting more lives. And then number three, if you want to subscribe to the Weekly Mile newsletter, I'll have the link to subscribe to that in the show notes below. And the last thing I wanted to mention before we jump off is that last week we were able to host the first ever Take a Step workshop. We brought together 20 guys in the Atlanta area who wanted to come alongside and build community with other like-minded guys who are just ambitious and want to grow in their personal and professional life. And it was such an amazing time. Check out my socials to see what that looked like. It's going to be a consistent cadence. Planning on having the next workshop in May, so be on the lookout for that. If you want more details on it, reach out to me on social, and I'll be happy to get you everything you need. With that said, thank you guys for listening, and we'll talk to you on the next episode of the Take a Step podcast.